Welcome to another episode of Last Orders, the end of a pretty turbulent week as we expected and discussed on Monday markets. So taking a quick look at BTC, we have had a nice little retest of that weekly level of 22.8k that we talked about. Obviously, we had a little dump going into the FOMC and then a pretty strong bounce despite the hawkish comments from Jerome Powell. The market not really buying into it. Don't believe him, and so we are still trading pretty high. If we take a look down on the daily time frame of BTC, this level of around sort of 23.6 to 23.8 proving to be a bit of a sticky area, not managing to get over it. We had a little fake out yesterday, but ultimately closing back below. So obviously a clear barrier before 25k. Break and hold above this, then I think that's your leg up to 25k. Obviously go quickly flicking back to the weekly time frame, looking good in terms of having flipped this 22.8k level as weekly support. So yeah, pretty good on the higher time frames. Not as good on the daily until this daily level breaks. We could see, if we do see a breakdown and a loss of this weekly level, then the next logical area really is this sort of monthly level here around 21.5k, where the last bit of daily consolidation was. If we take a look at ETH, so ETH also had a little fake out. Not really much to talk about on the weekly. We're still in this higher time frame resistance area of about 1721. If we go down to the daily, again, another little fake out yesterday, still proving that this 1656 day level is a difficult nut to crack. Line in the sand, as we can see, multiple rejections from this level ever since the 15th of September last year. So yeah, pretty difficult. And then, as I say, even once you get above that, you're into this 1721 monthly resistance area, which if we go to the monthly quickly, jumping around timeframes here a bit, but this monthly level, as you can see, we've failed to trade above this ever since trading below it in June of last year. So a long time since we got above that. So some real heavy resistance here at the moment for Ethereum. And we've just been range bound between 1516 and 1656 and continue to do so. Another interesting chart is we've got the ETH BTC. We broke this down before, but monthly range, as you can see, between 0.08 and 0.053. If you break down to the weekly, this weekly level here at around 0.06, you can basically make that little box from this little candle here is your mid-range of that monthly range that we just highlighted. Just quickly make that a weekly. So very interesting level here. If we continue this bounce, then alt BTC pairs have probably going to do pretty well. They've been suffering quite a lot since BTC's rally. Yes, they've been going up in USD value, but in their BTC values, they've been getting hammered. However, we could see a reverse of that trend. Maybe if BTC takes a breather and goes sideways, or maybe comes down a little bit, and then ETH and alts take over. However, lose that level and you're probably going to make quite a fast move down to 0.053, which would be obviously pretty devastating for alts, but a very good buying opportunity potentially if it gets down there. If we break it down to the daily, the level we really need to look out for, in my opinion, is this 0.07. As you can see, start of this leg of the move down on the 26th of Jan. We've come up, we're testing it at resistance now. If we break and hold above this, then that for me is a break of structure. We're stopping to make lower lows and lower highs on this time frame, and we're starting to make higher highs and hold it as support, and then higher lows. And then so this bounce will sort of be on its way. So alt BTC pairs might look quite interesting in the coming weeks. So certainly something to keep your eye on. In terms of other big index charts to keep an eye on, stables dominance, as we spoke about before, in this weekly support area. So I'm expecting a bounce along with the dollar itself on a historical support level. So yeah, whilst certain aspects of the market continue to look quite bullish, there is that danger of, are we going to bounce in dollar stables? And of course, the VIX is still super low as well. If we go to the daily, yes, we could still go a little bit lower to maybe the 16s and maybe the extremes of like the 15s, but it's in a pretty bouncy area, along with, as I say, the dollar and the stables dominance. And finally, ES, which is the S&P futures. We are right on this weekly level of resistance at 4175. So start of this swing here on the 12th of September, tested a resistance in December, and as I say, we're here again now. So pretty sticky area of resistance. If we break above that, then again, similar to what I just said about ETH BTC, you're making higher highs, and if you hold it, then you're making higher lows, similar to as we've done here actually. So we are obviously technically in an uptrend, looking to break out of the major downtrend on the S&P. So very important level here. So, but it is at resistance, and as I say, potentially tying in with the fact that BTC and ETH at resistance, S&P at resistance, USDT dominance, and DXY and VIX all on support. So you could see that flip. We're just going to have to wait and see. In terms of alts to watch, so on Monday we talked about AVAX approaching this weekly level of resistance. As you can see, we're here now. We poked our heads above it yesterday, but we're right on that level of resistance. As you can see, left to right, very, very strong area of both support and resistance. So in terms of taking profits, I think it's a very, very good area. Not financial advice, of course. Take something off the table. I think, if you bought bags down here, you're looking at 100%. You're looking at double your money. Maybe look at selling, a certain percentage. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. Maybe 10, 20%, something like that. Don't go broke taking profits. Of course, we could break above this and trade higher. But what if we do roll over and we come all the way back down to this weekly level, as we've spoke about, the potential dangers of everything at resistance, and then the dollar, stable dominance, etc. at support. So it could happen. Nothing wrong with taking some profits. Same scenario on ADA. As you see, we've broken out of this weekly bearish trend line into this weekly resistance. Again, a decent place to take profits, in my opinion. We could quite easily roll over and come back down to this weekly support of 35 cents. VeChain, we talked about potentially getting in on a retracement into this weekly support area. As you can see, it just about tapped it. You'd be quite lucky to have got that, and it occurred on the FOMC day as well. So I personally don't have anything open during FOMC announcements. Don't put any orders on. I close existing trades, etc. So you'd have been quite lucky to have caught it. But as you see, the TA did play out quite nicely. Does this now rally up to 0.028 potentially? It's in a bit of a no man's land for me personally, so I wouldn't be looking at touching it. So two other alts that we've covered on previous episodes, but we didn't cover this week. However, they're now in areas of interest. So BNB, we talked about this weekly range before. We're hitting the top of the range. As you can see, we've rejected off it multiple times in the past. So again, a good place to take some profits if you bought lower down. Let's say you bought somewhere down here. You're looking at a decent 40% rally there. As I say, not a bad place to take some profits. Pushing up into that weekly resistance, we could quite easily reject that top of the range again and come back down. And DOT, similar, we're coming up to this monthly level of resistance. If we flick to the monthly, you can see key area of resistance. It was the top here in August and September 2020, the bottom in June, July and August 2022, lost the level, and then it's actually a resistance in October and November and last month in January. So really nice place. Again, take some off the table, 10, 20%, 30% your bag, whatever you deem appropriate. Take some profits, lock in any gains you made from down here. If you were fortunate enough to, 60%, that's nice. So yeah, as I say, nothing in this video is financial advice. Do your own thing. However, just be aware, things don't go up forever. We've had a really, really nice rally on a lot of things. We're now entering levels of resistance. Nothing wrong with selling partial parts of your bag, basically. So it's a nice little roundup. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Sundays have been quite volatile recently, but personally, I try not to look at the charts, try not to take any or make any decisions or do any actions over the weekend. Come back on Monday, see what the weekly closes, etc. are like, and go from there. So yeah, keep an eye on things, guys. As I say, lower time frames like the daily, BTC and ETH at resistance. ETH BTC looking interesting. And as I say, S&P weekly close today. We'll see if that can close above 4175 or whether it holds a resistance, and then keep an eye on the stable dominance DXY and VIX, as they could bounce at any moment. So hope you enjoyed that, guys. See you again on Monday for Monday markets. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you then.